Hi everyone, it's Sally here. I just finished another new journal. This one is a book cover that I've actually used before. I had another copy of this book, Castle Craney Crow, which I turned into a journal, and it was slightly different. It was a darker green, but had really interesting designs on the front, and definitely an old one, probably from the 20s or the 30s. So anyway, I have this other copy, and I thought, well, I'm going to turn this one into a journal also. So it was in nice condition. It's a little faded here on the spine. That happens, I think, when books are sitting on the shelf and the sun shines on them, but it's sturdy. I reinforced it, and actually I like adding the little bit of a stitching around the edge there. And I went all the way around the book too, and used a vintage button as the closure with some stretch lace. And so I lined the inside with fabric. This time I used some fabric from an old curtain. And because it's called Castle Craney Crow, it's kind of about a castle. So I'm calling this journal The Castle, or Castle. And so kind of looked for pictures that look like they might be castles to include in it. And this fabric is just so pretty. It says such pretty scenery on it. It was hard to decide what section of it to use. So yeah, each signature begins with some interesting old pictures of just neat old buildings, and I think they're all in Europe. And so here we have, this is, I'm not sure where that is, so I'm not going to worry about it. I can't remember the names of the places. But anyway, this is a calendar page here, and I just added this cutout deer, but I didn't glue him down all the way. I left a little pocket there so you could tuck some things in the back, which I kind of like that. And same with this. This is it's just a piece of art print that I had of a face, and I left the top part open. So inside is this tiny, skinny little notepad with some hand-dyed paper stitched together. And this is, I think, part of an old greeting card there. And it just fits right there in the top of his head. So lots of coffee-stained paper, lots of stitching. This is a card I made. And this is actually a tea-stained book page. And another little notepad I made. Here's a little tiny clothespin holding it on. And so it's just some folded paper. You know how you get those offcuts. And so I just put a bunch of these. I think these all came from an old scrapbook. And I like the paper. It kind of has those faded edges on it. And then the cover. So it just made like a little notepad. Would be nice for making lists. And I just added that little clothespin to hold it in there. This is some paper from old packaging, like the place where my sister lives has a historic house on it, and the people that lived in the house kind of left a lot of things behind. So it's kind of fun to go look around in that house. We've done it a few times. I mean, nobody lives there except for some birds. It's really old. But to poke around and find things like this old paper that I think maybe things that they ordered from Sears or Awards came wrapped in, packages. So anyway, it was cool paper, and I decided to use some in the journal. And I stitched on this picture to make a pocket. And then here is just a journaling card I made. Yeah, so I kind of just used a bunch of old paper like that. And I think there's some more in here too, which we'll come to. So tea-stained scrapbook paper. I love how it looks when it's tea-stained. much more interesting. A little piece of paper from an old notebook, and a beautiful picture of the English countryside. So since I kind of had that castle theme, I was kind of looking for things with old houses in it. An Italian flesh card, and this looks like a castle. It's a wine label, and some tea-stained kind of accounting card, which could be used as a journaling space. And there's the rest of that wrapping paper. So this is a TV that I cut out of a catalog, and I didn't glue it down there, so it has this little bird that comes out. Thought that kind of looked cute. So this is from a book I have about different world dances, and so I'm pretty sure this is some kind of a Scottish fling. And inside we have a print of some Italian money and a Monopoly card. And it's a beautiful print of the ballet. And inside the pocket I made with it is a piece of my paper cloth. This is cloth on the back and layered tissue on the front with some stitching. And tea-stained library card, and then this is a piece of that program from the drive-in movie theater. I think it was from the mid-60s, and so these are the listings of the movies that they were showing. An envelope. This one came from someone who had worked in a hotel in Thailand, and I think I have a bunch of his correspondence that I found at a thrift store. So, yeah, I just put it in here. It's kind of a flip out, and there is actually the letter. I think he wanted to impress somebody with the letterhead. He was working at the Sheraton in Hong Kong, and it really has no message except that thought you might like to read this. Also enclosed pictures of William and Elizabeth and Elaine. So anyway. And this little car, kind of like a little sports car. And then inside we have a cigarette card with a train and a little card from little playing card from Michigan, which I've kind of altered, put some paper on the back, and an old photo, a copy of an old photo. So that's the first signature. Second signature also starts with something that looked kind of like a castle or some kind of opera house, maybe. From Wizard of Oz, the Straw Man and the Tin Man. I just thought the picture was really cute, so I decided to include it. Made a pocket out of this, and inside is a postcard. This is one of the French postcards. You can see it says Paris 1902, and the writing is so tiny. Look at that. That's the address. And here's the stamp and the postmark. And then on this side, this is actually handwritten in really tiny, must have been a super fine point pen. It's all written in French. And then this beautiful, I guess it looks like kind of like a statue. So anyway, just a beautiful postcard. Kind of been hanging on to that one for a while, but thought it might work really nice in this journal about the castle. And here is one of the Mexican bingo cards and a scene from, I think this is Australia. I'm not positive, can't remember now. And just a beautiful print of an old painting, Age of Innocence. And here are some girls learning some kind of dance. So just some old packaging. I kind of think this was this wasn't a big envelope, which I tea stained, and it was really just like maybe 9 by 12 or something. I liked the way the tea stain looked on there, so I decided to turn it into a page. And a journaling card, a picture from a magazine, and then this is just a credit memo. Could be used as writing space. Some sculptures and journaling card. This is a pattern for some kind of furniture. And then, so here is actually the cover page from the original book, Castle Craney Crow. It has the date on the back. Oh, 1902, so older than I thought, actually. So yeah, so then you have writing space here, see? And here's some old page from a scrapbook, which had some things that were taped down, and I just kind of tore the paper off, but I decided to leave the tape. I kind of liked the way it looked. And then this just turned these two little kids into a pocket, so an altered playing card. And another print of some kind of money. Kind of went with my castle theme. Yeah, somebody had written down, I guess they were wedding gifts. Didn't know really how to spell towels. So this is 2 pages kind of stuck together, but I left just a tiny little bit of space there to turn that into a tuck spot for this, and just a little card that says, "You know who." Don't know who that is, but somebody knew, and they put it in our scrapbook because that's where I found it. Story of a dancing girl, and this is an article from an old movie magazine. It's about Joan Crawford. And so this is some more of the fabric that I used on the inside cover, and a little, just a small journal, little miniature with a Roman statue on the front, and an old vase, and then just some odds and ends of paper that I put in here. Kind of a little mini journal. Some stamps and a postmark. The binoculars. A print of a poster. This is an old motel, those kind that were like little cottages. So anyway, that just goes here, or it could be taken out. So this is a picture of my uncle, my aunt, my mom, and my dad. This was right before they got married. It's an extra copy. I inherited some from extra copies of the pictures from family members, and so I thought I would put it in here as a pocket, and also a tea-stained index card, and just a little tiny journaling card. Some more of that paper with the tape on it. And this might be a picture from a print from the original book. I added it in here. Let's turn that into a little tiny pocket. So that's a journaling card. This little tuck here is actually a picture I took. A picture of an Art Deco piece of furniture. I think it's some kind of a display cabinet. Beautiful glass doors and some carving, and then inside it I put a an old greeting card. I thought it was pretty with all the little birds on it. And of course you can open it up and write on the inside. And then this picture here, which I found in a scrapbook, it was actually glued down. I lifted it up, and you kind of had to use a palette knife to lift it, and then it was kind of interesting for me to turn it over and read what it said on the back. It's for Mama. It said, "Isn't this one of the best looking men you ever seen?" 3 question marks. Thought that was kind of funny. So take a look. He is pretty good looking with his little corncob pipe. So those go in here. This is, it's from an art book I have of Degas with lots of different dancers in it. I love the colors in it. And I turned this into a pocket for a beautiful vintage postcard from France. From some palace, Le Palais. And so here's the last signature. This looks kind of like Italy, maybe, with like gondolas. I've always liked this picture. It's a print. This is a print. This is, a plate, colored plate from another old book. And some old packaging paper. And this is from an art book too. I just made it into kind of a little flip because it was pretty on both sides. I think that's, the ceiling of that chapel by Michelangelo, and a beautiful sculpture on that side. Cluster, so you can just see through this stained tracing paper, this neat old lighthouse, which I turned into a flip. And another old photo. This was actually another picture of my dad. And you could see he has set him, this is where he was living before he got married to my mom. In fact, they lived here for a little while until my older sister, she was born, and then they got a bigger place. They got a little farm. But I thought he had it fixed up really cute. And, it says Oscar. That's his writing. That was his name. He didn't have very good handwriting. I think he left school early. And another print from the Degas book with the dancers. A cluster. And another cluster, which I turned into a tuck spot. This one has some little pages from an old notebook. A few blank ones. This looks like some kind of a shopping list, maybe. Like this, we used to have a dining set like that with those red chairs and the chrome finish. So another cluster that I turned into a tuck spot. It's got some old yellow tape, which I stitched down. And the Tower of London, sort of kind of looks like a castle, right? And this is some kind of game card. I think it's called Pit. And here we have a little art card, I guess, and a little game piece card with a cup on it. And that's the last of it. The back cover has some more of that beautiful fabric. So there it is. I thank you for watching, and this will be listed in my Etsy shop for sale. I'm trying to kind of get a little stock going before Christmas. And I also have 2 Christmas journals that I've finished that I will have in my shop. Okay, thanks a lot.